So hi Hannu, you're one of the co-founders with Valo. Would you like to tell me what is the vision behind Valo and what motivated you to start this company?
Yeah, like all of us founders, we basically have similar background. Like we have been working with cybersecurity, software development, and like we were thinking a couple of years, 3 years back with Mika about like what we should do. Like we get together. Like I had spent 8 years in Sweden working at Spotify and so on. We moved back to Finland. And we started to think like that we want to build something together. And actually, Mika knew Jari from like they had a common background from F-Secure. Jari was working with Salesforce at the time, and basically he kind of joined the discussion when he heard that we are kind of thinking to build a company together. And I think the main vision was that we kind of saw and felt this kind of race of this generative AI. We all kind of see that there is going to be a lot of things happening around that, and especially on the security front. Like we saw so much opportunity and challenges on that side. So that's where we kind of started, and we first kind of started very wide. So we started to build something for like all the SaaS in a way, like managing the security and connectiveness of all the SaaS in the world in a way. But for a startup, that was not the best story, not the best way to get the first customers. So because of Jari's background, we kind of honed into focusing in Salesforce. And that's basically where it started to click. So we started to kind of see alignment that we had kind of a different strengths and we could all play those strengths. Well, we all had some like a security background. Mika being like having worked the longest and being a CTO of F-Secure at one point and so on, like having that angle very strongly. Jari having the strong Salesforce background, and then like me being basically the technical co-founder. So I have like a long history, over 20 years of experience building complex systems, like starting from the F-Secure, building the labs automation at a time 25 years ago, then like having my own like a consulting company at the time, and then moving to Spotify, seeing the large scale, seeing the Google Cloud, how it was built. The Spotify was the first alpha user of the Google Cloud. So I had a lot of experience from that, scaling up large systems and also like working with the security. So that's kind of the background why we started that way. And now when we have been working in the Salesforce community, seeing the problems that our customers have and so on, like we have been kind of felt that we are on the right track and we need to find the kind of the exact pain points we solve first.
Yes.
But my personal view is that we will at one day be managing the whole SaaS, but we start now with the Salesforce.
Yes, so we want to pick our market first.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So your background is actually very interesting, Hannu. You started with F-Secure, then you moved to Spotify. In the middle, you were also consulting separately or independently.
Mm-hmm.
And you have, obviously, you just mentioned that you've also worked with security products before. What would you say was your motivation inside this company? So inside Valo, what was your motivation? We know Mika was bringing the security angle. Jari was bringing the Salesforce expertise that he had. But what about your personal agenda within Valo?
Well, I actually got really interested, like at the time, about this generative AI, how I can use that in like building products and like improving the development process with it, kind of playing around with my own agents and ChatGPT at a time and their API, and understanding how it can be used, and also understanding how it can be used for analyzing like security angle or the threats or how products are built, what kind of modules or how does the architecture kind of fit the need. So basically sparring on that front, and I saw with Valo the ability to actually use all of that. So basically, being kind of the sole, kind of the technical founder, and we started to build the team, is that, well, we basically had a green field to build something that's actually utilizing all of that. Also, like having the ties through our background at the F-Secure to some security research ongoing, talking at the events with the people and some of our advisors at the time. So, there was always this kind of a very recent new angle on what kind of problems and threats we are kind of trying to tackle, and then bringing this new kind of automation from Gen AI, and also like utilizing all the knowledge I had built on creating like a scalable systems. So all of that kind of matched. So I felt it was like really great place to grow and kind of understand how to utilize all of this for the Valo product. So.
Yes. And ever since I joined Valo, I've also seen you being the technical founder or co-founder. You have built the product from scratch. So you were the one who has been writing the first few lines of code as well. So how do you see the scalability that you've seen? So it has been around 3 years back when you guys started with the vision and the initial product. How do you see the scalability of the product? So you started very small and now you've grown into a big scalable product being used by live customers.
Well, I think we kind of solve one issue at a time. So we try not to scale too early because it actually takes time and investment. So we need to focus first on the customer pain points. So I think the kind of having that vision and knowledge helps in kind of focusing on the right thing in the right time. But definitely like a greenfield, building my own product in the beginning. But obviously, eventually, when we get new people, it's not only me anymore. So I've probably built the first versions, but now when it's evolving, we kind of have the capability to scale. I've seen like very large scale systems, but I know that we don't need those yet. And we're also not the B2C product, but we are B2B product. So there are some differences. That's kind of I kind of feel that we kind of understand and know that we can scale, but we are still focusing very much on solving the actual issues and actually scaling on kind of creating those solutions as fast as possible and with the highest possible security and quality as we can.
Yes, you actually touched a topic very close to my heart as well. So scalability. We have seen in tech industry that people sometimes scale too early, or then they don't scale early enough, and then they run into performance issues. So what would be your take, or what would be your one advice to the founders out there in technology on scalability, especially now that we have AI also in the picture? So things are moving fast with AI. Everybody wants to build AI angle into their product. So, and scalability is very important with that angle as well.
Definitely, but yeah, I kind of repeat that we should first solve the actual problem, like the technical solution. We need to solve some certain specific use case for the customer. Kind of, you first solve it, even in an ugly way, like some way that kind of works. And after you have something that's functional, then you kind of sit back and see that, okay, now I need to actually also ensure that we can scale it.
Yes.
So you don't do it as a step one. So I don't really care if it scales at the beginning. But then when we kind of know that the solution works and I kind of have an insight that, yes, this actually works and it can scale. And when we start to get the customers, we start to see the load increase. That's the point when you start to scale.
Yes.
And with the AI, it's actually quite easy to experiment. So you can make 5 different solutions, or write one solution and tell the AI to, can you do this in a different way, and it can do it. So you can basically get the same behavior implemented fast in different ways, and you can even test them. Like, okay, which one of these scales the best? Like if you have a scaling issue. So with scaling, you want to solve the scaling issue when you actually have it. So
yes,
not too early, but you need to have the image, like the vision that you can scale it. So you don't build anything there that's kind of unscalable.
Yes, so you always design for scalability, but you scale at the right moment.
Yes.
When you know that this is the right moment to scale. That's very important to know. And with how we have, and what you were saying before, so about the understanding the problems of our users, that's something we've done That's very close to our heart at Valo, and it's one of our values as well to put our customers first. And we have been talking to our customers very regularly. When we started initially and when I joined as well, we had this design partnership ongoing. So we had more than a couple of customers in that design partnership where we were working very closely with them, monitoring their environments for them, building a close relationship with them, and also trying to understand what was their problem. And that's actually how we reached the point where we decided that Salesforce is the area that we want to solve first before moving to other SaaS solutions as well. So that was a turning point for Valo as well. And it came because we were having this close conversations, feedback loop with our customers regularly. Do you have some insights from that point of view? So the problems that we have seen with our customers, especially when they use Salesforce, for instance, there are a lot of access control problems in Salesforce as well, which kind of relate to the scalability issue as well, because, well, admins design for the problem that they're facing right now. They don't necessarily think about the future of their organization. How are they going to grow? How are roles going to grow? Will they have a new function within their organization? Will they maybe at one point want to have different accesses for different regions as well? So how do you see that problem?
I kind of see there's certain kind of a chicken and egg problem, because you need to be able to talk to the customers, talk to the people who actually use the system, or they kind of work on the problem area that we are trying to help them with. And before you have any solution, it's really hard to get to talk with them. So you kind of have to start from somewhere and kind of approach with certain angle before you actually get to talk about the real problems. And I think we started with the integrations because we saw that those were the kind of on the center of everything. And it's also for the AI to understand how the system works. It's like the integration or the integration graph we have also in the product is kind of the baseline for everything else. So we started from there. We built some nice graphs and we showed those to the customers, and we started to talk about then the real issues. I think at the beginning, only the integration and the insights we have from those were kind of lukewarm in a way. But then we started to actually get feedback on the real issues. And there were a lot of cases that we didn't really see it beforehand. So it was kind of clarifying the approach that we need to talk to the customer, always be close to the real problems, that we solve the real issues. And even when we think we have a solution, we iterate and we see that actually we fix it in the wrong way. It's too hard to understand or use. So we kind of change the angle a bit and create a new solution on the same problem. And maybe after like 2 or 3 iterations, we kind of start to get the real valuable thing out of there. And then we expanded on the new areas like the permissions, licenses. Basically, all of those came from the real pain points that our customers have. Yeah, I mean, there's the main point is to be as close to the customer as we can, and also kind of solving real issues, real problems.
And then we also decided to drink from our own bottle as well. So we decided to use Salesforce within Valo as well, so that we know the problems that our customers are facing as well, which also helped us understand the ecosystem more. And also be the admin or be on the user side as well and understand the problems or the complexity that Salesforce can show to you. So that was also a good move, I would say.
Yeah, definitely the trailblazer thing in the Salesforce and kind of getting your badges, like gamifying the learning experience is kind of a integral part of the Salesforce ecosystem. And it was kind of fun to get into it. Like for me, I didn't have Salesforce experience before when we started Valo, but that was kind of a great way to get into the community and kind of start to tackle the issues. At some parts, you kind of think that, okay, so why didn't Salesforce actually fix these issues instead of creating a nice gamified learning experience to kind of go around the issues? But that kind of explained why we actually need products like Valo, because we can improve on many areas. But I mean, it's a very huge, like the Salesforce serves the whole business, like many different businesses and all the areas of those, like what you need to do to make the business run. So it's so wide area that it's understandable that single product cannot do everything in a perfect way. So there is a lot of space to improve on those as well. I mean, we focus in the beginning at least on the security and kind of this angle on viewing, kind of seeing the whole system and understanding what's happening, and then improving on the processes, on the business processes.
Yes.
But there are also like smaller things, like just the right permissions or something like that, like very specific things that we can also do in a better way than what Salesforce does now. I mean, there are a bunch of other products that also do that, but yeah.
But yes, the complexity of Salesforce, I think, comes from the fact that it was the first SaaS company in the world. So it created the concept of SaaS for everyone. And then we have seen how the company has grown over time. And then it's a full ecosystem where, as you said, there are a lot of apps that are in their app exchange. Valo is one of them, of course. And with Valo, one thing that I learned was, well, we always discuss about being close to the user, and that's one of the values that we have lived through at our company. So we are very close to our users. We're continuously trying to talk to them. In product management, we have these regular feedback calls with our customers, trying to see how can we answer their needs, and then what are those needs is also a big portion of product management. And everything that we've built in the product, as you said, has come from the customers directly. So we did start from the integrations part. That's when I also joined Valo. So that was the first feature set. And then the next steps was launching at Dreamforce, and then getting as much feedback as we can on those, on the integrations part. And then the next feedback that we got was, well, we need to also reduce our license costs. And that's where we solved the problem again, because we had the metadata of their Salesforce orgs. We could easily map the usage of their users versus the licenses that those users were assigned. And that would save a lot of money for the customers to just get the picture of, well, these are the users that are not using their Salesforce license to their full extent. Maybe I need to do something about it and save some costs, or then assign this license to someone else who's more in need of that license, some other user in your organization. And that's another pain point that we solved with Valo. And then we went to access control. So access control, of course, also has a security angle to it, because, well, if the wrong people in the organization end up seeing the wrong data, for example, if there are some rules in your organization where you don't want the one region of your organization to see the data from other region, it's very important. And this is where Salesforce comes in. So this is a crucial job for Salesforce admins as well. They want to make sure that access controls are built in the right way. But then, just as the world of software, there's a lot of technical debt in these things as well. I think you know the concept of technical debt better than a lot of people, maybe, because you've worked as a developer for a very long time.
Definitely.
So technical debt never leaves you. And then this technical debt can actually be very detrimental for your Salesforce organization, especially when it comes to access controls.
Yeah,
and Valo decided to help our users as well. Again, the need came from our customers. So they told us that this is a problem, and we built a solution for them.
Yeah, I think there were like two main drivers for that. One was the transition, like from that Salesforce transitioned from these profiles to permission sets, like a very specific angle. We built a solution for that, but it's also like, I think it ties back into this agentic era. So nowadays, Salesforce is promoting the agent force, their own agents, but you have also the agent outside of the Salesforce, accessing Salesforce via like browser automation. Like you don't even see the actual like connected app or something. You just see that browser is accessing my system, and also these like a direct agent connection. So it's not only about the user permissions as such, but it's also these non-human users.
Yes.
Like we can identify them, understand what they do, summarize those actions, and protect the customer. And I mean, the main point for that is also that the agents, they don't have this skill barrier, so they can do anything that the API allows. And if you have a Salesforce organization that actually has all the users or admins or something like that, and then those people start to use the agentic tooling.
Yes.
So that means that the agent can actually do anything. They can, basically, they don't have the skill gap. They kind of understand the processes, and they can be very creative, even too creative sometimes. So when somebody who has admin access starts to use the agentic tools, not only Agentforce, but also from outside, it's imperative that like you must have very strict access to kind of protect the system.
Yes.
So you can only do what you need to do.
Yes. And that's a real use case that we saw with one of our customers as well, where we were actually able to help them understand that there was an application within their organization that was being able to access some data. And Valo actually showed them that visibility with the integration graph and also with our alerts. And they were able to actually save themselves from a possible threat thanks to Valo. But it's always good when you solve real life scenarios or real life problems for customers, and then you see the results, and the customer comes and tells you that I used Valo to solve this problem. So it's always a good thing. But talking about AI agents, I think you're right. So in Valo, you can also see non-human entities and their licenses as well. And it's very important to remember the fact that when you're using AI applications or AI agents in your Salesforce, you're essentially giving them access to your Salesforce data, and you have your customer data there. So the security of that data, or to just know what they can access, is very important for the organization.
Definitely, yes.
Because they can, as you said, they can do anything with the data. They can be smart about it.
Yes, that's the danger with it. Like it brings convenience, speed of doing things. It's really powerful tool. But to actually allow that access and to actually make use of it, you actually need the security guardrails and even non-security guardrails. So you basically need like the human consent, and you need to understand what's happening. Like even if it's behaving properly, it's kind of you need to understand what they're actually doing. So you don't get kind of surprises. You try to do one thing and you get that one thing done, but it also did something else. Basically, that's one risk.
And we're at a very interesting topic, so guardrails, and that's something that we have built into our system as well. So Valo has very good security guardrails. Would you like to tell something about that?
Yeah, I think we built like a Valo trust layer, like copying from Salesforce, obviously, like where we kind of building our own agentic tooling. The security and the trust of the customer is like the main concern. Like you won't take a tool into use unless you really trust it. So the couple of things I already touched is that it actually does only the thing you want it to do. You have like a total visibility what it's actually doing. If it's trying to change something, it will ask for human consent. These kind of things to like be certain that it actually does what you think it should do. And also like Salesforce has trust layer as well. So there is check for bias and harmful language and these kind of things. We actually get many of these features from the Google platform we use. So we utilize those tools as well. So we have our own kind of trust layer to ensure that the content and the language being used is proper. And we actually also like analyze what we do and how we have done it, so we don't allow like behavior that doesn't exactly kind of solve the issue that was being solved.
Yes.
And yeah.
And a very important point to highlight here is that basically with Valo, we made sure that users in the end have the consent. So even though the AI would help them, so Valo would help them understand what's going on in their organization, what are the possible threats, and even possibly take actions on their behalf. But we have built the user consent there because we wanted to be very conscious about the fact that in the end, it should be a user's decision that they would want the Valo AI to perform some action on their behalf.
Yeah, like the generative AI is a tool that actually can take action if it's implemented that way. But it is like it can have some, like it's not totally deterministic in a way. So you kind of want to, trust it, you want to know what it does. And when it actually does something like concrete, like changes accesses or removes unused tokens or users or changes permissions, you kind of, you don't want that to happen on the background, like you don't see. So any change we want to be kind of approved separately.
Yes.
So that's important. Yes.
And of course, we are targeting admins mostly, but we do have a lot of features in the product that want to target the platform owners. So if you're a platform owner for Salesforce, maybe you're not doing daily tasks with Salesforce, but you still want to know because it's a system inside your catalog of systems, and you want to know what's going on with Salesforce. So Valo gives you that visibility from our dashboard as well. So we let you know how many apps do you have, how many users do you have, how many of those users are actually using Salesforce, how many licenses are underused, for instance. So we also made a very conscious decision that we want to give this overview picture to the platform owners for Salesforce as well. Maybe also the inspiration came from our own experience with having, with wanting to have a good overview of what's going on with our own systems as well.
Yeah, I think for the architect or the Salesforce owner or the architect or somebody who's kind of creating new solutions on top of the Salesforce, it's also very helpful, like having a segue back to this technical depth is the reason that you kind of, why the complexity and the depth kind of gets created in the first place is that you don't really understand what you're doing in the step one. You kind of start to build something and you kind of change your mind, you kind of iterate, and some like depth gets accrued there, and that's the kind of one reason for this complexity and depth. But if you actually get the understanding in the beginning, you have a better visibility, and you actually kind of can really see nicely in a nice graph, or you can kind of easily, see the connections between your systems, your users, your permission sets and profiles and so on. You kind of gain the better understanding of the system, and even the business flows. You can actually architect and create better solutions from the get-go. This actually decreases the depth. So tooling like Valo actually can help those people who make the decision and design the new solutions to actually make them in a way that it actually decreases the technical depth for the overall system.
Yes.
So that's one perspective, and also the understanding of what's actually happening there.
Yes. So very briefly, I would like to summarize what the product is and then move towards another angle. So of course, Valo is this one platform that ties your Salesforce users, your Salesforce apps and connections, and their licenses together and gives you a very holistic picture of what's going on in your organization. We help you save money, we help you save security threats, and we help you build the right access controls there. And access should always be based on need-to-know principle, and we let you know that if you're following that principle or not. So it's a smart system giving you advices on these things. But there's another angle to everything, so the company and the vision behind it, which is that I know that you're very passionate about enabling and empowering the developers. Having been a developer at one point in big firms, F-Secure, Spotify, I know you feel very strongly about it, and that's a culture that we have inculcated in Valo as well. Would you like to speak about that?
Yeah, definitely. Like that's one of the kind of the core things when we started to build the engineering side is that we actually, I want us to have a culture that empowers people. So I really want to give the responsibility for the engineers. Like we hire adults, and they can make their own decisions, decide on how they use their time, just give them the best tools and the capabilities and kind of the knowledge they need to actually solve the issues themselves. So even how we kind of lead the teams is that we have these technical tracks. We try to solve specific solutions or problem areas, and we don't dictate who goes where and who does what, but we actually talk to the whole engineering and ask them to kind of let's get together, split up, solve these issues the best way we can, choose your tools, your ways of working, what kind of approach you want to have. Maybe you want to have Scrum, maybe you want to have Kanban or something like that. We don't want to dictate those things.
Yes.
So and then we hire also a young, talented people, even maybe still in the school. We have many people started with us as summer interns. So it was very kind of empowering to see that after a couple of weeks, those young people using the AI tools for development, they were able to get up to speed very fast and start to contribute. And we still have like some very senior people who can kind of guide these young people. So we have this great culture building up where we have this kind of young and more senior people getting together, trying to solve the issues together. And I try to have as little micromanagement as possible. And that's kind of core things in our culture, I would say, like empower people to grow.
Yes, and I would say we have a very nice bunch of age groups. So a very good division of age groups as well. I think we have from all the age groups, the team is very diverse for sure. And I have seen it myself that everybody, so in the development team, everybody is responsible for their own domain area, as you just said. And it has helped them be taking the ownership of the end user value that they're creating as well, which is definitely a problem for a lot of firms. And me coming from, well, I wouldn't say very big companies, but scale-up companies in Finland, I think it was a good experience to work with you guys and see the ownership that we have built in our team. So everybody feels responsible for the end user value that they're creating from start to the end. So from the point where we start designing something to the point where we go and deploy it to the production environment for our end users.
Yep.
So that has been very nice.
Definitely. And it's great to see, like when I started, I was building the product myself, like the first versions of everything. And quite fast, when we got more people and they felt empowered, I came to the work and I was thinking that, okay, this is the way we have done it. But then somebody came like saying that, hey, now we should do it actually this way. Like I did it like that and it was better. And I was like, okay, sure, go ahead. Like okay, I need to actually change my way of work because they actually did it in a better way. So we are like truly building it together, actually.
Yes, you always need to adapt with the times. And that's something you should do while you're working on a product, but also when you're working on the product or when you're creating the product, you need to adapt with the user needs all the time as well.
Yep.